Hi everybody, I'm Toby Au from Sony Interactive, and I'm happy to introduce our next speaker. She's truly inspired me, not only to try a new fancy hair color, even though she's outdone me again, but also in how she finds fun and creative ways to optimize her work. And today she's going to be sharing one of her new latest methods with all of us. Fresh off completing Gears 5, here's Carla Rylance, External Development Manager at the Coalition Studios.
Welcome to External Development Essentials Sparking Joy from your administration. I'm Carla Rylance. I am External Development Manager at the Coalition, which is an Xbox game studio located here in Vancouver, literally over the road, which is very convenient for me. I'm a member of the XDS Advisory Committee and have been since September of 2018. And I've spoken at XDS quite a few times now. My topics normally revolving around key performance indicators and team management, and I'm hoping that this session will be a nice accompaniment to that set. So, how on earth can we spark joy from our external development administration? It's hard work. But we're going to cover it in 3 steps. So, part 1, we're going to have a quick introduction. We're going to have a look at the overview of the method that I've used. We're going to look at why I implemented the method in the first place, as well as how I believe the method can help you at your studio. Then in part 2, we're going to get straight into it, looking at how we can spark joy step by step, along with giving you a bit of an example of how you can implement this as well. And then to evaluate, we're going to have a look at the impact that the method has had for me at the studio, as well as what's next for the method as well. So let's get straight into it, our introduction. Who here has seen the show Tidying Up with Marie Kondo? Ah, quite a few people. And who went and tidied up their home, like, as soon as they watched it? Yeah, me too. It's pretty good. So she's great. In each episode, she goes around to different people's houses and shows them, like, a really cool way of tidying their house. And by the end of it, everyone's home's sparkling, and they just love tidying up more than anything else. It's now their hobby. But to put it a bit more eloquently, the KonMari method is a system of simplifying and organizing your home by getting rid of physical items that do not bring joy into your life. So obviously, I went home and tried this method out. But then I also thought, if I can do this at home, why don't I do this with my workstation at the office as well? Because I want to feel good when I'm sitting at work all day. So this is what I did. I got little cups and little boxes for my pens and stuff. I installed a little happy light, which when it's on, it's meant to boost your happiness levels. I put little notes for growth and inspiration around there, as well as little photograph memories. Feels really good looking at them throughout the day. I installed a cup warmer because I never want to have a cold cup of tea. And I put my cute little dog as a wallpaper. And you know what? Now when I sit down at my desk, I feel really good about being there. So I thought, if I can do this with my home, and if I can do this with my workstation, can I start to do something similar with my external development administration as well? Because first of all, I was sometimes finding it difficult to find the documentation that I needed when I needed it. The documentation I had could be quite time-consuming to update when I needed to. I found that when having to get people involved with my administration, that some people found it confusing or a little bit difficult to digest. There were just too many documents for what I needed, and it was becoming a little bit frustrating. So I decided to take this KonMari method and make the Carla method, which is a system of simplifying and organizing your external development administration by combining, updating, keeping, or discarding documentation that does not bring joy or efficiency to your job. And I found that by implementing this method and by streamlining my administration, that I could increase my capacity, give me more time to do the stuff I want to do when I want to do it. I could generate impact on an external development and a studio level. And most of all, I could spark joy from maintaining my administration, which was the goal. So, Now let's get through how we can actually do this, sparking joy step by step. So with the KonMari method, she has 6 steps for tidying your home, and by the 6th step, you should be able to spark joy from doing so. So we'll go through those quickly. First step, commit yourself to tidying up. Second step, imagine your ideal, imagine your ideal lifestyle. 3, finish discarding first before getting rid of items. Sincerely thank each item for serving its purpose. 4, tidy by category, not by location. 5, follow the right order. And 6, ask yourself if it sparks joy. Now, our Carla method is going to have 6 different steps, which we're going to follow. So the first one is commit yourself to streamlining your administration. The second step, imagine your ideal structure. Third step, combine, upgrade, keep or discard. Fourth step, sort one step at a time. Fifth step, action on implementation. And 6, ask yourself if it sparks joy. Now, what's worth bearing in mind, these first 3 steps, they're pretty fast to do, pretty quick to implement. It's those last 3 that you're going to find yourself iterating on, and that's where you're going to get that bit more churn. So it's going to take that bit more time. So let's go through each of the steps so you can fully understand them. Step 1, we need to commit ourselves to streamlining our administration. So what did I do to do that? Firstly, I knew that I really wanted to improve my efficiency. I wanted to give myself a bunch more capacity, and I wanted to make all of the documentation that I had a lot easier to use. There were some new tools which I thought, if implemented for external development, it could greatly improve my capacity and make everything very easy to use for everyone at the studio. And finally, focus time. I needed to make sure I had time put aside to focus on getting this implemented. So I blocked time out in my calendar to make sure that I completed the tasks I needed to do at those times. So there we go. Step 1, done. Completed. So now that we are committed to doing this, we just need to start imagining what our ideal structure could look like. So, because we want to spark joy from this, I started to think, what will the final product look like that will spark joy for me? So, first of all, everything has a home. All of my documentation is all in one place. I know where to find everything, and so does everyone else. If I can increase my efficiency, give myself a bunch more capacity, make everything much easier to use, that will definitely spark joy for me. If I can make an impact on a studio level as well as an external development level, that will spark joy for me. And if I can make the final result look super pretty, that will make me super happy as well. But I can't just think about myself. I also need to think about our production team and what they need to know about external development on a milestone-ly basis. First of all, they need to know about our external team structure. How many people do we have assigned across our milestones with all of our disciplines? How much capacity is there available per milestone? How many days do we have available to assign an external team throughout our milestones? Are our external teams meeting our targets? We have a few different ways to measure this. So, are our teams structured in a way that's going to give us a good quality of work back throughout the milestones? Are the external teams hitting our estimates? And are they completing the amount of work expected for the milestone? And transparency. They want to know that all the information that I'm presenting is accurate and it's honest. So bearing all of those things in mind, I started to get a bit of an idea of what I wanted the end product to look like. So first of all, everything has a home. Everything's in one place. I know where to find everything, and so does everyone else. This one was a bit of a reach, but I thought it'd be so cool. I could give myself so much capacity back if I press one button and all of my documentation updates. That would be fantastic. We need clear, accurate, and easy to find information. If the final product can spark joy for others when they're using it, that would be fantastic. And again, if I can make it look pretty, that will make me happy. So now we know what we want our final product to look like. We just need to start thinking about what we're going to do with our documentation that we have. What are we going to combine? What are we going to upgrade? What are we going to keep? And what are we going to discard? So here we have a chart with all of those categories down the side. And all we're going to do is get out all of our documentation and place it into the category that we think it suits. So we get out all of our documentation, place it on there. Anything in the combine line are documents you think you could combine into one. Anything in the upgrade column is anything that you don't think you could really combine with anything else, but you think you could improve it somewhat. Anything in the keep category are things that you can't necessarily upgrade, but you definitely need them. Anything in discard, let's just get rid of it, gone. So now we know what we're going to do with our documentation. It's going to be a bit of a task to start thinking, oh God, where do I start? I've got all of this stuff to do. So let's work out how we can do that. With the KonMari method, she has a certain order in which you start to discard your items. So the first thing she starts to discard is clothes, followed by books, followed by papers, followed by miscellaneous items, followed by sentimental items. For our Carla method, we're going to combine, upgrade, keep, or discard in this order. So first of all, it's going to be our day-to-day items, followed by our documentation and guides, followed by our contracts and budgets, and then finally by our memories. And then again, we go back to our chart, and we place these other categories along the top there, and we start to lay out our documentation based on this. Now, what's worth bearing in mind is anything that you see in the top left-hand side of this is the item that's going to give you the most capacity back by upgrading first. Why is this? First of all, because you're combining, for this example, 3 documents into one. You only have to update 1 document rather than 3, and it's all in one place. So you're going to get more capacity back. And because it's a day-to-day item, it's an item you're using on a daily basis, the sooner you tackle it, the sooner you're going to start getting efficiency back. So this item in the top left-hand corner is the document that we're going to concentrate on for the rest of this session. Just to give you a little overview of what each of those individual documents is and what's included in them. So the capacity reports just give us an overview on the amount of days we have available to assign to an external team per milestone. The skill set report tells us how well balanced the team is over the milestone based on the amount of lead, senior, mid-level, and junior artists assigned to the project. An external development headcount basically tells us how many people we have assigned over our milestones. But then I also started to think, what else is important for production to know? That's our KPIs. So I thought, can we combine all of this into one document? We're going to call it our master production report. And once this is complete, it's going to give us a bunch of capacity back. So let's make a start on this. We're going to now action on getting this implemented. So if you recall at the start, one of the big things that was important for me was everything having a home, all of the documentation being in one place. The thing we're going to use for this in this example is Microsoft Teams. It's something we already use at our studio. It has chat channels so you can interact with internal and external resources. It has SharePoint, which is built in like cloud storage within Teams. And there's also a bunch of apps that you can implement into Teams as well, making it a really well-rounded hub for everything we needed. So what steps do we need to take to make sure that the master production report is working and is accurate? First of all, we need to get each of our external teams to complete their own supplier production report. This basically gives us a great idea of how all of our external teams are structured over each of their disciplines. Once that's completed, each of those documents is going to be plugged into our master production report, which basically pulls all of the data from each of the suppliers into one place. And this is going to update automatically based on the information within each of the supplier production reports. But it's quite a big document. There's quite a lot to digest in it. So how do we make this user-friendly and more visual? The way that we're going to do that is with the new tool that we were hoping to implement, which is Power BI. What that's going to do is it's going to pull all of the data from the master production report into a visualized report, which is also super interactive. So this is going to be a fantastic addition. And then we also need to make sure that the information within the Power BI report is made available to everyone who needs to see it. So the way we're going to do that is we're going to add an app into Microsoft Teams, which is Power BI, which will give you a visualized report straight in the team, all in one place. So now that we have created our master production report, we just need to ask ourselves if the end product actually sparks joy. And we have a quick video. Okay, so this is Microsoft Teams. This is going to be the home for all of our documentation. In the top left-hand corner, you'll notice we have several channels. We have a channel for us, a developer publisher, and we also have a channel for each of our example external teams. For this session, we're going to concentrate on Team 3 and imagine they're updating their environment production report. So we're going to go into the Files tab within Teams, and the report is already stored in there. They can open it straight from that place. This is a bit what it looks like. It's a bit heavy on the eye, but it's actually not too bad to update. It's pretty easy. Down the bottom left-hand corner, you'll notice there are a few tabs. These blue tabs are the ones that the supplier needs to complete. We have a tab per discipline. We also have these gray tabs, which update automatically based on the information within the blue tabs. Now, once this part is completed, it'll give us a really good overview of team structure, available capacity, and skill sets. The only information that the external team needs to complete is within this red box. And all they need to do is enter a code into the cell that corresponds with the artist that's assigned and the day that they're assigned. So let's say, for example, the external team have a vacation day on the 8th of January. They just need to put a V in that box, and that will give us all of the information we need on that. Or say there's a couple of new artists that are joining the project. We just need to add a code into the box telling us whether they're a content creator, a non-content creator, a lead, senior, mid-level, or junior artist, and the project that they're assigned to. For this example, Project 1 or Project 2. And once this is completed, this will give us an overview on team structure, capacity, and skill sets. Now we have a little group just up here. We open that, and that's where all of the magic happens. This will basically sum everything up from that row. So it will give us grand totals for total headcount, or available capacity, or the amount of vacation days on a daily basis. So it's pretty granular and gives you a ton of information on team structure as well as available capacity. We'll take a quick look at the gray tab here. This pulls information from the blue tab and gives us a good overview of whether our teams are fairly balanced based on the amount of leads, seniors, mid-levels, and juniors that are assigned to the project. And that's all that needs to happen with the supplier production report. And so now we'll have a quick look at the master production report. Again, located within Teams, can open up the Excel straight from that place. And this one is what that looks like. We have two tabs in here. The one that we're starting on now is the Day tab. This pulls all of the information from each of the supplier production reports into one place on a daily basis. And we have different sections depending on the external team and the discipline. And that will give you information on things like how much total capacity is there, how many headcount do we have, or how many vacation days are there on each day. But if you don't want to look at anything on such a granular basis, sometimes you want to look at things on a milestone basis. So we have this milestone tab, which pulls information from the Day tab into this one place. And again, this pulls us monthly totals for capacity, skill sets, headcount, and vacation. We also have a section here for key performance indicators for whether the teams are hitting our estimates and deliveries. But at the moment, this is the only thing within this sheet that we're updating manually. Everything else is updating automatically based on the information within the supplier production reports, which saves me a bunch of capacity, and that makes me super happy. So now that the master production report is updated, let's take a look at the visualized report in Power BI. This is a little bit what it looks like. this makes me super happy. So this pulls all of the information from the master production report into this visualized report, which is great because everyone can use it. You can filter information based on external team or milestone or environment. But I'm going to come back to this again in a minute because I want to give you a run through of how everything works together in real time. So we're going back to Team 3's environment team, and they want to block in a vacation. So on the left, we have the supplier production report, and on the right, we have the master production report. So they're going to have a 3-week vacation in January. Why not? So they'll block that in. You'll automatically see the master production report updating based on the information that they're pasting in. You'll see the headcount going down. You will see the capacity going down. But you will see that the vacation is going up. And that's all that we need to do. Now we've got all the information that we need. So now all we need to do is open up our Power BI report. This is our environment-only dashboard. And just keep an eye on the capacity as well as the vacation days. We press one button here, our refresh button. Everything updated automatically. Super easy, super simple. So now all we need to do is make sure that the information is made available to anyone who needs to see it. So we're going to publish that report, which will update our app within Teams. This is great. I only have to press one button. Everything updates, gives me a bunch of capacity back. So this is our team. We have our Power BI app here, and this is our dashboard. So we have a dashboard for key performance indicators. Again, you can filter the information by external team, by discipline, or by milestone. We also have our environment dashboard. You can look at the amount of capacity between 2 exact dates. You can also take a look at the amount of headcount that's available and the amount of capacity over set milestones. We also have a supplier-focused dashboard, which tells us how many artists we actually have contracted and the amount of capacity that that relates to. And we also have a supplier-focused KPI dashboard. And this is if they have multiple disciplines assigned, they can go and check out each discipline and seeing how they're all performing over whatever milestones they want to. So for me, this Teams Hub is fantastic. It's super efficient. It gives me a bunch of capacity back because I don't really have to do much legwork. And that, for me, definitely sparks a lot of joy. So let's have a quick look at the impact that this has had and the future for the method as well. So first of all, I think that over a 3-year period, this master production report could save me over 100 hours of work, and that's based on the amount of time that I invested into it and the amount of time I'll get back by not having to fill out as much paperwork as I used to. And that time is only going to improve as well as we improve the method and get that time back. What's also great is we're thinking about implementing the Power BI dashboards across content production, so other disciplines can also benefit from this method as well. So we're going to increase efficiency across multiple disciplines, which is fantastic. And our Teams Hub, it is super transparent, it's very efficient. I love using it. Other people really enjoy using the dashboards as well, and that for me definitely sparks joy. But what does the future hold for the method? How do we want to improve this further? First thing, 0-button automatic updates. So this is something that we're working on at the moment. So what will happen is the supplier will update their production reports as usual. We will then have a script which will update our master production report, meaning that we won't have to open it for that to refresh, to update. We're also working on a method where we can get the Power BI dashboard to update without having to press any refresh buttons or publish buttons, which will then make our dashboard live on Teams without really having to open any documentation at the developer or publisher side. We're also considering implementing Jira into this as well. And the reason for this is our KPIs. So at the moment, if you recall, going back to the master production report, we have to implement all of that data manually. With Jira implementation, we'll be able to pull all of the information we need on whether the external teams are hitting our estimates and whether they're completing the amount of work expected for the milestone. Directly from Jira, that information will then plug straight into our master production report, which again will update automatically on the script, which will then automatically update our Power BI dashboard, which will then be available on Teams. So that's going to save me a bunch of work as well. So all of that is really, really exciting. And so I hope that you can see how this method can help you at your studio as much as it has at mine. I'm just going to give you a quick recap of what we've covered. So the 6 steps. First of all, commit yourself to streamlining your administration. 2, imagine your ideal structure. 3, combine, upgrade, keep, or discard. 4, sort one step at a time. 5, action on implementation. And 6, ask yourself if it sparks joy. And I hope that you can see how by implementing this method, you can increase your capacity, give you more time to do what you want to do, when you want to do it, can generate impact on a studio level as well as in external development, and that it can spark joy in its upkeep. Thank you very much. I don't think we've got much time for questions, but if you have any questions, please feel free to email me and I can show you what we've been doing. So thank you.